This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hey guys, Big Paul here today with a follow-up from my Why DBOL Stinks video from yesterday. I always get people's buttholes chafed when I talk about DBOL and why I don't like it. I know there are a lot of people that love DBOL. And if it works for you, great. I have no issue if you want to use whatever. That's your call. I personally think there are better choices, and I don't understand the logic of using an inferior compound with worse side effects when there are better choices. If I am maximizing my results and trying to minimize health consequences, why wouldn't I use the compounds that give me the best results with the least amount of negative side effects? People will jump through hoops and do mental gymnastics to try to justify using more toxic compounds. And I'm not saying that there aren't times that you want to leverage more toxic compounds. An example would be Tren. Tren is, we know that Tren is toxic. But Tren has some unique attributes that cannot be replicated by other PEDs, such as strong glucocorticoid suppression, increased feed efficiency, and it seems to have a strong thermogenic effect that other steroids do not. So I give you the example when it comes to DBOL. I know a lot of people say, well, I want to use it because I like having a pre-workout oral, something to get in my system quick to make me feel good and get really good pumps. Pumps don't always translate into muscle size, but if you wanted to use a pre-workout oral, I get it. I like using pre-workout orals from time to time. So I give you the example of Anavar. So if you want to use a pre-workout oral, why wouldn't you use Anavar instead of DBOL? Anavar is superior in every way to DBOL. It has a higher anabolic rating. It has an anabolic rating of 320 to 630 versus 210 for DBOL. Anavar doesn't bloat you up like DBOL does. I know some people said that it's diet that causes the bloat with DBOL. While diet does play a factor, diet isn't the issue with the DBOL. I'm keep my diet buttoned up tight, and I don't generally get bloated, but if I take DBOL, I blow up like a balloon. It's likely the methyl estradiol that causes the bloating. So my ankles will actually swell up when I take DBOL, and my ankles do not swell up when I take Anavar. Nothing has changed with my diet, so diet isn't the issue. The only variable that changed is the DBOL. When we look at Anavar as well, Anavar doesn't raise blood pressure as severely as DBOL does, so it wins there. Anavar isn't as liver toxic as DBOL is, so Anavar wins there. Anavar isn't as kidney toxic as DBOL, so Anavar wins there as well. Anavar doesn't seem to crush your lipids as much as DBOL, so Anavar wins on that one. Anavar doesn't cause crazy muscle cramps like DBOL can in some people. I've heard of people getting cramps with Anavar, but nothing like you do with DBOL, so Anavar wins there. Anavar also gives you great pumps. And Anavar, and then I had another person say, well, it's not the DBOL that's the problem. It's stacking it with tests that's the issue. Well, if something doesn't stack well with tests, then maybe it's not the test that's the problem. It's the other compound that's the problem. Anavar stacks perfectly fine with test. No issues. So my logic path here is, why would I use an inferior compound for a specific job? So if I wanted to deploy a pre-workout oral, I would probably want the one that's more effective. And Anavar is better in every single way than DBOL is. The only exception I would give is if we were a strength athlete, perhaps a power lifter and we wanted to achieve some bloat going into a competition for leverage purposes that, maybe in that situation we would want to deploy some DBOL for the bloat. But as physique athletes, we don't want to be bloated. Bloating's bad for your health. Bloating looks awful for your physique. Provides no benefit for physique athletes. So, as a bodybuilder, a physique competitor, there is no real advantage for taking DBOL. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those guys took it back in the day, and everybody likes to relive the golden era and duplicate that, but those guys did all kinds of stupid shit back then. They were drinking whole milk and eating heavy cream and taking liver pills and drinking milk concentrate protein. Things have progressed since then, and those guys didn't have an understanding of anabolics. Another point too is that, I hear a lot of guys saying, well, just run it by itself. Don't, there was some dude that turned pro on DBOL only. I mean, while he may have turned pro on DBOL only, is that the most efficient path from point A to point B? Probably not. He may have been better off and had better results if he had done something like maybe take test, equipoise, and if you wanted to use an oral, use the Anavar, or test nandrolone and Anavar. So just because somebody did it doesn't mean it's the most optimal way to do it. People do all kinds of stupid shit all the time. Just because you were able to pedal your bike to work versus taking a car and you arrived at work, you and the guy who drove a car to work both got to work, but one of them got there more efficiently and without less effort. That doesn't mean it's the same. So I'm about maximizing results, minimizing health consequences, and there's just nothing compelling to tell me that DBOL is a better choice. There just isn't. And I think if you take the time to think about it logically, you would see that Anavar would be a much better choice. Hell, even Anadrol, Anadrol is very toxic. It probably is the most toxic oral, but Anadrol has the unique effect of maximal force production. There is no other steroid that generates force production like Anadrol does. So there is an advantage to using Anadrol in that you will pay, sometimes it's worth paying the price with the health to leverage that. Same thing with Tren. We take chances with Tren, limited chances here and there, because Tren provides a unique aspect that no other PED does. Same thing with Anadrol. It provides a unique aspect that no other PE does with the dramatic increases in force production. So that's why people use Anadrol and tolerate the toxicity of Anadrol, because it offers something unique. There is nothing unique for DBOL for physique athletes outside of the bloat, which we don't care about as physique athletes. That's something for strength athletes. So that's my thought on it, guys. The most efficient path from point A to point B with the least amount of risk. That's my logic when I'm putting this stuff together. And if we are going to leverage toxic compounds, they better do something unique that we can't achieve with something else. They better achieve some sort of goal that we can't do with something else that is safer. So that is my logic when I am making a compound choice. I have a video up about what each steroid does or PED does and what unique attributes they offer and the toxicity. Check it out if you want to understand how to select the proper compound to get the job done. Anyway, guys, if you have comments, questions, I'm sure people are going to be upset that I put another video up criticizing DBOL. Put it in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. And thank you for watching my channel. I truly do appreciate it. I know I give some of you guys a hard time, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch my channel. It means a lot to me. Thanks.